I'm actually a big fan of Craig Mazin's writing, and so when I got the script and I read it, I thought it was so fun and so smart, and also really kind of emotional and moving. So the first thing that attracted me was the script, and then of course the cast. I mean, it had such an amazing cast, so I was excited to be a part of it. When I read it, I thought it was so sweet, and I don't know, so hopeful and magical, even though there was sadness because they did love their beloved, their George. So I had a mix of emotions, all of them amazing and all of them really hopeful. And it made me smile so much at the end and throughout because they're quite funny. I think what I loved is how much personality each sheep had. It's basically a shepherd. He has perished, and every night he would read a murder mystery to his sheep, to his flock. And unbeknownst to him and to everyone else, they can communicate. They talk with each other, and they would talk afterwards about solving this mystery that he would read to them, George. And so when George finally meets an untimely ending and he is murdered, the sheep decide, because they don't have faith in the detective and the police, they decide that they're going to take matters into their own wool hands and they're going to solve the murder. And so Cloud is a part of the flock. And so I don't know how much she offers in terms of solving the murder, but she does offer her insight, and so that they can basically get justice for George. He's so supportive, and any questions I had about, well, what's the intention of this character, and what is this scene, and what am I trying to say? It was great because he could offer the insight. He could lead me into it by reading some of the other characters because he knew the voices in his head so well. So having him there was really a great bonus and an asset. So I was happy he was able to come out and do that. The cast in this film is so amazing. I mean, there's so many people. I am hesitant to name them because there's not one person in the cast that I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, obviously, I love Emma Thompson. I love Hugh Jackman. I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is the smartest one of us. I don't know how I feel about that, but apparently she's smarter than Cloud. But to see the sheep and to picture the voices of the actors who I love, I can't wait. I think it's going to be a real treat. That's also what's so compelling, is that they do speak, and Cloud, unfortunately, she does speak against that lamb, the winter lamb. I think that's a lesson for all of us, for how do we misjudge or prejudge things because they're different. And not just the fact that we do it, but what could we do to change it? And when we make that change, how can we do to embrace, what can we do to embrace that which is different, so that we realize, wow, we have a lot more in common than we don't. And so I think the winter lamb is really special, but I think what it symbolizes is even bigger. It's grounded. I think the tone in the film is very grounded. I mean, the comedy is not incredibly broad, but it's I think that's what makes Craig such an incredible writer, is to write for the humans all around and the voice of these sheep who we come to really have feelings for, because they do have such real personalities and concerns that we may not have, like leaving the pasture, but that we certainly can understand. And I think because it's rooted in what we think about sheep, or what we think we know about them, and then the truth of what we know about people, it's grounded. And yet, we kind of get to laugh at things that we couldn't laugh if someone else were murdered. So it's kind of like he takes this dark subject and he's able to wrap it in this, smart, witty, and kind of humorous way.
I'd never read anything like this movie. I'd never read a script that was so unique, and it's like a really beautiful. I mean, it's clever and kind of amazing. I can't wait to see how the sheep turn out and everything. But the story itself, and the characters, and how much these sheep love George, and I don't know. I was really moved by it, and it's also really funny. Craig Mazin's this amazing comedy writer, but I just found it to be a beautiful story, and it did a really good job of making these sheep feel like people. I mean, the winter lamb. You got me crying at the end of this. It's about a shepherd. Hugh Jackman plays George Hardy, this shepherd. And he loves to read murder mystery novels to his sheep. And George turns up dead in the pasture, his pasture. And the sheep find him, and they help the sort of bumbly, struggling, I don't want to call him dumb, but like unequipped police officer. They help him solve the case. He's not equipped for the job. He's never solved a murder. He's not a great police officer. He, I believe, kind of lives in the shadow of his father and grandfather. It's kind of a backstory that felt like it worked. That he lives in this small town. He's the only police officer in the small town. He deals with, getting cats out of trees and things like that. But this is an opportunity to prove himself to a town that thinks he's a stupid cop. And he still isn't doing it well. So luckily the sheep kind of help him come out of his shell and become the police officer that he wants to be and is meant to be. Nick Galitzine is just such a funny guy. The dynamic between Tim and Elliot is good on the page. I think it got better working with Nick. I mean, he and I just found a good energy. The group all kind of folded in nicely, very quickly into the rhythm of the script and sort of what they are as a character and an energy in a scene. So Hong is like just so good at being this kind of like blustering, dramatic, loud, aggressive thing. So she just comes into the room and brings that energy. And, Conleth's got this just like mean mug on his face towards everyone. Like, I feel like everyone kind of tapped into this thing. Kobna's got this great voice for a reverend and this like, got this kind of slow energy. And I don't know, it's just nice when you're working with really high level actors and you see them all figure out exactly what that person is. And then they bring that into the scene. Just makes for good dynamics and for us to work well off each other. Kyle is the most prepared guy in the room. He has the movie in his head. He has the imagery. It's funny because we would do a scene and he didn't show us the storyboards from the start. So Kyle basically storyboarded the entire movie, which if you don't know what that is, it's creating like kind of a comic book version of the movie. And I don't know how often directors do this, but Kyle kind of animated it so that it actually played and people did the voiceovers so you could hear the voice. So you could kind of watch this like skeleton of the movie. It was already done before we started filming. I'm like, this guy knows what he wants. He knows, every single part of this movie. So you just feel like you're in good hands every day working with him. Rosa Diaz, the costume designer. We got very specific with Tim's one outfit, basically. We wanted things to fit a certain way. We wanted him to look kind of dorky and kind of small in the clothes. Like the clothes he can't fit into what this job is. So it felt good to have the clothes draping off a little bit and pants being a little too big and all that. And then for the final big scene, for him to have kind of a tighter shirt and like kind of like cleaner shoes and all these kind of little details. Maybe an audience would never notice them, but they might feel it. They might sense that Tim is filling out his shirt a little bit better and kind of in his body a little bit better and all that. So also really nice when a costume designer's thought about, how can we bring those character arc moments up a little bit with costume.